Thank you for tuning into our podcast. We are coming to you from South Hadley, Massachusetts. I am your host, Carrie, and joining me is Holyoke's very own local historian and creator of the historical tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Camus. He offers both public and private tours, as well as presentations of the local canal systems, reservoirs, cemeteries, and churches, as well as various parks and streets in Holyoke, South Hadley, and Chicopee, Mass. Now you actually lead these tours and give these presentations yourself, is that correct?
That's right. This one's more of a discussion.
And so today he'll be talking about the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Holyoke. So tell us about the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Holyoke.
All right. Historically, it's been around for a long time. And remember that Holyoke used to be a very poor city right from the start. It had a lot of rich people, a lot of poor people. And it might still be considered to be such. So if you look at all the boys' clubs of the United States, this is number 16 in order, historical order. That's an incredible. And it's because boys' clubs tend to be organized where the boys need a lot of structure. And in Holyoke, that's always been true. The first boys' clubs ever in the United States was Hartford, Connecticut in 1860. And the 16th was in Holyoke. Now, you probably guess there's hundreds of them around the country. Now, the one in Holyoke was founded in 1892. It was founded at the southeast corner of Appleton and Main Street in what was a church. And the organization has grown from there. It took over the Merrick housing units that were on Race Street, and that was in the year 1906. And it was 3 housing units that they took over. These were mill housing for workers that are no longer needed, so they were sold. And they were rehabbed, one of them at least, and that became the home for the Boys Club in Holyoke. Now, along the way, it's changed, and those houses were taken down, and by 1921, they were already having a new house on Race Street. And this one was a brick facade house, and that was still there. And if you go down the Race Street, you can find it very, very easily. Now, through the years, the national organization has changed also. The organization Boys Club and Girls Club is now found on another street in Holyoke. So it left the one down on Race Street. In 1969, they moved uphill to Nick Cosmos Way. And there they have a large building. And across the street, they also have a playground that's been newly renovated.
And what is the history of the Boys and Girls Club, or the Boys Club in Holyoke?
Okay, now, well, that's a good point. The Boys Club is no longer just a Boys Club. It's no longer just Holyoke Boys Club. It's now called the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Holyoke Incorporated. And in 1992, they admitted girls for the first time, and that's because the national organization allowed that to happen. And of course, they became larger. And they changed the name from the Holyoke Boys Club to the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Holyoke. And so they serve not only Holyoke, but also Chicopee, South Hadley, Granby, and all the other communities around this area. So they've grown greatly from that small Methodist church on Main Street up to a larger building up on Nick Cosmos Way. And you can imagine that a lot will happen in the future. So what we're going to talk about here also includes a national organization, and then also about what the Boys and Girls Club in Holyoke has changed into through the years and what they have nowadays.
So quickly before we continue with the rest of our interview, just to fill our listeners in, if you want to find out more information or sign up for any of his various tours, you can check out his website at holyokecanaltour.org. In there he has both videos of the various stops along each tour and also past and present photos of the historical sites throughout as well. And if you are interested in setting up a private tour, you can email him directly at bobcat4214, and they are perfect for fun and educational outdoor activities for the whole family, or for your group parties, especially those special occasions and get-togethers. And they are also good just for getting outdoors for the day. So getting back to our interview, what is the history of the national organization?
All right, the national organization, of course, is very different from any of the local organizations. They had the first boys club ever in Hartford, and that was in Hartford, Connecticut in 1860. But the national organization is quite different, and there was an affiliation by 1906 of 53 boys. In 1906, they had 53 boys clubs, including Holyoke, all affiliated together, and they gathered together to start the Federated Boys Clubs of America. And then in 1931, they changed the name to Boys Clubs of America only. And then in 1990, they changed it again drastically because they changed its name from Boys Clubs to Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Right? And Holyoke changed along the way. They joined this national organization, and when they could, they changed into a Boys and Girls Club also a year after the national organization said they could. So even on the national level, it's grown greatly and greatly. So now there's over hundreds of boys clubs and girls clubs around the country.
And what are some of the goals and programs of the Boys and Girls Club of Holyoke?
Okay, so think about things that most people might learn in their house, but these boys, maybe their parents aren't around all the time, or they're just coming from single parent households. And think intramural sports, right? Think that any after school help that they need, they'll get there. And enrichment programs after school or in the summer, they'll get that. If they want to develop further in science or math, such an enrichment program would be great. Also think about other things that you might want to learn along the way, such as maybe things that you typically think are Boy Scout materials, such as going for hikes in the woods, or learning how to tend gardens and plant a garden, harvest a garden, or learning how to cook for oneself, how to store the food afterwards, how to think about nutritional value and what to buy, what kind of foods. Also think about how to develop good habits, right? You want to have a person that stays away from bad habits, lives with good people around the way. Now in Holyoke, of course, they have programs for children from grade 1 to grade 13, age 13, grade 1 to age 13. And so you're thinking mostly elementary school and middle school. And they, of course, they have summer programs. And they have 2 outreach programs. One is in the Churchill residential homes, and another was in the Topford residential homes, that's in the flats. And so they really try to reach as many boys as they can and girls, and they reach hundreds, maybe 1,000 children each year. They after a site have a pool, and they have an outdoor playground across Nick Cosmos Drive, and that's important because 2 years ago it had a Community Preservation Act, and it's fun, and so it had a new playground put inside of it, and the playground is very large and beautiful and very safe. They have a new traffic light there, so the boys and girls can walk across the street very easily. So they have lots of money. They're being funded very well. They have a new playground, a couple outreach programs, and so this is a great place for Holyoke boys and girls to go. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Robert, for educating us on your tours, and we want to thank our listeners for tuning in. You can also tune into a large selection of our other podcasts and much more at his website. Again, that's holyokecanaltour.org. And again, you can email him directly for private tours or to inquire about anything else at bobcat4214, capital B, at yahoo.com. And be sure to keep an eye out for his upcoming 2024 season.